Sir, he's in the dresser. I had to pause a voice message for this. Fred, what are you doing? Welcome to a new vlog. Welcome to spring. It is spring. Spring has sprung. It's 50 degrees here today, but it's going to be in the 80s by the end of the week. We're going to get to read outside. We're going to get to sunbathe. It's going to be so much fun. But let's look at the weekly TBR. First, we have Devotions by Mary Oliver. Didn't get to this today, but I'm now over the halfway point in this. This is a nature poetry collection is how I would describe it. But the main focus of this vlog is reading my book club pick for the month of March. Therefore, I'm going to be reading Stone Fox by John Reynolds Gardier. This is one that's a childhood classic. We read this in, I think, 2nd or 3rd grade. It made our teacher cry. Left a lasting impact on me, so I'm so glad I'm going to get to read it with some friends this month. And if you guys would like to join, the Fable link is down below in the description of the video, so y'all can see the spoilery thoughts. Oh, there's illustrations in here as well. I did not realize that, but I will read the back to y'all so y'all can get a full description. Little Willie's grandfather is sick, and it's up to Willie to save their farm from tax collectors. Their only hope is the prize money from the National Dog Sled Race. But a lot of other people want to win the race too, including Stone Fox, who has never lost a race in his life. Do Willie and his dog Searchlight stand a chance against the toughest racers around? Can they win the race to save the farm and grandfather before it's too late? My mood read actually started last night. It is a piece of literary horror, and that is Monstrilio by Gerardo Simona Cordova. This one, we have Magos, her son, passes away. So what does she do? She wants to have a part of her son. That makes so much sense. But she goes and cuts out a piece of his lung and puts it in a mason jar. And she begins to feed that lung, and it becomes a sentient being. that is what I know just from watching other people's videos and descriptions, because with my mood reads I tend to not read the back, I just go into it. But yeah, what I've read, she has started to feed the lung, the piece of lung, and we'll see where that goes. Lastly, I am 60% into Wayward by Chuck Wendig. I'm reading the ebook of this. This is post-apocalyptic. We've had a fungal pandemic happen, and this is showing how society rises from the ashes after that. But also it has impacts of AI, climate change, just every hot topic in America. It amazes me that the first book in this series was published in 2019 before COVID happened, because this author predicted exactly how Americans would respond to that situation. I don't know how he did it, but he did it. And those are the books that we are going to be focusing on in this week's vlog. So I finished the book. It was, I think, 83 pages. Yeah, on Fable it told me it was going to be 96 pages. I was like, oh my gosh, I think I'm going to be leaving with one chapter left. But no, I was able to finish the book, and we are going to go through Call Pal. With the characters, we're giving them a 4. This is such a wholesome cast of characters that you cannot help but feel for, and you're really immersed into Little Willie's shoes as you for viewing the other characters and feeling what he feels towards them. Just very wholesome. I did really love them, and I do think even though this book is only 83 pages, we really get to have an idea and a feel for who these characters are. The atmosphere didn't play a huge part for me. I'm even curious when this is supposed to take place. I was envisioning like the 1950s, but I even picture a little earlier than that as the story progressed. I'm not really sure. I do think this is a good winter book though. It takes place in February. Reading this 2 days late, I guess. But it didn't play a huge part. Now, the writing is very classically American. This reminds me of John Steinbeck. Hemingway's another one that I think of. I remember I made more than one tab on the writing. It's very fast paced, and honestly, I thought this race was going to last for days. Maybe that's where I confuse it with Balto. I thought it was going to be like a days long race, but no, it is in one day. I don't know if it lasted hours or what. With the writing is very blunt to the point, which y'all know I do like that. You are going to have to suspend your disbelief, and I do think the author is self-aware of that, because we have little Willie who has all this weight put on his shoulders because his grandfather is sick, cannot get out of bed, is very depressed, finds out that they're having financial struggles, and he has to fix all this as a 10-year-old boy. How is that possible? So on this chapter, the author makes note of it's impossible for a 10-year-old boy to take care of a farm, but you can't tell a 10-year-old boy that, especially a little boy like little Willie. So the author is self-aware of it, but I am just gonna let y'all know you do have to suspend your disbelief. We're gonna give the writing a 3. The plot I do think is very moving. The ending is where I'm just kind of, it was so sudden. There's no real closure. Sorry, there's no real closure. I would have liked a little bit more to that plot at the end, but I do think this is an important story to teach that for what you love, sometimes you have to make big, life-changing sacrifices. Give it your all. You gotta give life your all to get through it at times, and it can be very hard, but you gotta do it. It's part of it. We're gonna give that a 3-star as well. Intrigue, yeah, the intrigue left me very surprised, because as I said, I read this nearing 20 years ago. I don't know exactly what year I read this book. There was a lot that I didn't remember. It was good, 3. Now the logic is where I'm just like, we'll give a 2, and enjoyment we will give a 3-star. Let me do the math. This will be getting a straight up 3-star. I do think this is a good book. I'm like, do I recommend it for kids? Yeah, I do recommend it for kids, but for an adult audience, it's a maybe. And there is a nostalgic factor that is playing, and I don't know, did I say it was symptomatic? Like, I'm picturing this in the same universe as the Polar Express with that same kind of CGI Uncanny Valley animation. That might just be nostalgia, because I would have read this around the time, excuse me, that I first saw the Polar Express. It gives that same kind of vibe to me, the classically American that I was speaking of, but this is one that I would recommend with the floor. I totally forgot, I have to tell y'all, we are starting a new book and I have to tell y'all about it. So this is The Magic Fish. I can't pronounce the author's name. I am so sorry. I feel so guilty about that. But we are going, it's my graphic novel pick of the month. I'm going to read y'all the description before I head outside to read. Real life isn't a fairy tale. In fairy tales, the prince falls in love with the princess, but Tien has a different story to tell. His parents are refugees struggling to learn English, and he doesn't know how to come out to them in Vietnamese. If he doesn't even have the right words, how can he ever know if his parents will accept him? The answer is in fairy tales, a language that Tien and his parents share. Tien learns from his favorite stories as he navigates the world with the help of friends, family, and fairy tales. So I love how literature, that being fairy tales, can bring people together and help people find themselves, express themselves, representation. It's so, so good, and that's one of the reasons I encourage people to pick up books, and that this is in a graphic novel format, and I think this is for middle grade or young adult. RH Graphic is the publisher, so I think that's great for young people to read this kind of story, and I'm going to go start it now. Oh my gosh, today was so stressful that I'm still just coming down from the stuff I had to do this afternoon, the vet, paperwork, adulting, and just feeling like I'm incompetent. And I know that it's like my fault, but I also know that just gotta keep doing stuff, and that will, you get the hang of things. The more you practice, the more you do something. But it was very stressful. I cried because I was stressed out. I'm probably a little hangry, but wiped those tears away, got stuff done. I got everything that I needed to get done. I know that it's all a learning process, but things can be so difficult when you're doing it all by yourself, adulting, and just trying to do stuff for the first time. But I got to 61% in the Magic Fish. That is to a page 140. I had the notes on my phone. I couldn't find my orange sticky pad, sticky notes. I did use that when we were doing the Stone Fox review last night, but I don't know where they ended up. Maybe they fell under the bed. I couldn't find them, so the notes are on my phone. The first one is, I didn't expect to get the mom's point of view. I thought we were just going to be getting Tian's point of view, but no, we've gotten his mom's perspective, which I just wasn't expecting, and we kind of got it right off the bat. So it's multi-POV. I usually don't get that in graphic novels, so that was something kind of interesting for me. My next one is that the actual fairy tale is drawn out, or tells. I guess we're getting the second one now. That is a like classic Vietnamese Cinderella story. That made me think that when you learn a language, because that's one of the reasons they read fairy tales, is so that Tian's mother can learn English. I mean, she knows it, but just rehashing her English. And again, what I was just talking about, you have to keep practicing and practicing to get confident in an action. So that is just to practice her language skills. They read fairy tales together. And I never really thought about that, because a lot of these stories we see in a lot of different cultures, like how we're getting a Vietnamese Cinderella story, how that is a story that's told in different cultures, classic stories, because the mother even talked about when she was growing up in Vietnam, they would read like the Grimm, Anderson, those fairy tales in Vietnamese. I think that reading those classic stories, because you know the story, but now you're looking at the words in a different language, I just feel like that would be a really good way to learn a language. I don't know if it actually is. I am not a person who teaches languages or whatever. And one of the fairy tales that we get, which is the first one that Tian is reading, reminds me of Mistborn. Kind of crazy. So I think Ven is the main character in Mistborn, and the character of Princess Alera in The Magic Fish reminds me of Ven so much. Max reminds me of whoever the love interest was in Mistborn. I don't remember what his name was. But I also want to say the transitions between scenes are very jolting. This is something that I come across a lot in graphic novels, that I will feel like I missed a page and I'm like trying to, when the pages are stuck together and you're trying, like I'm doing that, trying to see if I skipped a page. No, it's just really jolting transitions. But when we were talking about the age demographics of who I think this would work for, obviously I am 26 years old and reading this. I think that it can work for a lot of people, but I do think this is a middle grade story, and it's just about this young guy, this young person, finding himself and trying to come to terms with who he is as a person and praying for acceptance, aren't we all? So that's my update on the Magic Fish. I have gotten a quarter of the way into Monstrilio, so we are going to go over my thoughts. I am really enjoying this so far. I wouldn't say 5-star yet or anything like that, but I am enjoying the book. I don't really have any complaints that I can think of right off the bat, which is always a pleasant thing. Is it my favorite book that I'm reading at the moment? I don't know, because I'm really enjoying Wayward as well. Let's go into the notes. Promising writing. I do like the writing. Is the writing 5-star though? I don't know. Because I am doing the audiobook. And I'm like, if I wasn't doing the audiobook, how would I feel about it? But I do like the writing. The writing is promising. And with that little prologue section, it doesn't say prologue, but I would call it a prologue. The body horror, gory, that made me a little like, I don't want to say woozy, it didn't make me nauseous or anything like that, but I was like, oh, that was not, I just had the shivers because I'm cold, but yeah, the body horror, that is one of mine. That's one of the ones that gets to me, but this is a horror book, so we want it to do that. So I did appreciate that. We do see that Santiago, when he was alive, he would only draw pictures as monsters. So I'm like, is this like his second coming that he comes back as one? And that is Monstrilio, the little monster we see on the cover of the book. I'm not sure. One of the themes here though is grieving and how everybody does it differently, even if you are grieving the same situation. Y'all know I went through this a month ago, literally a month ago from this vlog, where my dad grieves like he wants to be alone. Me, I'm like, I don't want to be alone. I have to be with people. And everybody just has their own way of grieving, and we are seeing that here. And some people are going to be grasping at the straws. Totally relatable. I would not go to the extent that Magos, our main character, at least because the sections all have different names, so I'm wondering if it's just different POVs. So I don't want to say Magos is our main character, but for the first quarter of the book, she is grasping at straws. Like, I get it, but I'm not dealing with organs, not doing that. But it's just showing how we all grieve so differently, and you can't force somebody to grieve the same way that you do. I think you just gotta respect the process. But that to me is what the biggest theme in this book has been, is grief and how we all handle grief differently. Also, if you like the Dart plotline in Stranger Things season 2, I think you might like this. It's kind of reminded me of that, of the little D'Artagnan. I don't know how much I can say about that. I don't know how spoiler it is. I'm looking, do I have his Funko Pop in here? I do. We love Dart. Dart's cute. My other note of just saying grief is the main focus, how some people grasp for the straws, but I really don't know where we're going to go. At the end of this section, at the Magos section, I don't know where we go from here, because as I said, I didn't read the blurb. I read the blurb of the book back when I bought it back in the fall. I haven't read the back since. So I'm like, where are we going to go through here? Or are we going to have like some haunting kind of stuff going on? Because with horror, I'm like, it's going to hit the fan at some point. I mean, it might have already hit the fan, but I think we still have 75% of this book left. Things are probably going to get pretty crazy, I would suspect. I would think so. And I have just no clue where this book is going to go. No clue. That's a lot of fun. I am enjoying it. And at this point, yes, I would recommend it, but we have a whole lot of reading left. I just finished the Magic Fish. We are going to go over the one note that I took today and then give my rating. So the note that I took today is just the power of story. Everything just felt, how did that happen? The power of stories, we have already kind of talked about that with this book. And this was my new note on that, is that they can bring us through hard times. We can go through these traumatic and awful experiences of grief and whatever else through life, but stories can help us because we can find ourselves in stories. They can help us express ourselves, put words to feelings that we're having, and they can help us find, stories can help us find ourselves overall, and that's just so powerful, and I think a great message, and especially for a young audience to pick up, because I don't think I had anything like that when I was in middle school, like these characters. So I would say this is middle grade, but I do think young adult can enjoy it as well, but I'm always like, read what you want. So I'm giving this a 3-star. I don't do decimals for my graphic novels because I do think this is a good book. If any of it sounds intriguing to you, I recommend picking it up, but I just don't see myself rereading it in the future. But there's an audience for every book, and I think a lot of people will find this relatable. This is taking place in the 1990s, by the way, because I was so curious throughout the Vietnam War references, the outfits and technology, but at the end we have a lot. I would even say a little bit of info dumping after you finish the book, of just the author explaining everything. I don't think we needed all that explanation, but I do have to remind myself, for a middle grade audience, I think that would be really awesome for them because they are still growing in media literacy. It's something that they are just experiencing, which a lot of people nowadays who are my age don't have media literacy, but I think that that explanation could be needed for the target audience of the book. But those are my thoughts on The Magic Fish. We will be starting another book tomorrow for the last day of the vlog. We're going to be doing my ebook, not my ebook pick, but it is on ebook, The March by Ben Kane, but we'll talk about Thursday. I went to the dentist today and had my best checkup ever. My mouth is the healthiest it's ever been. Like, everyone there, such positive vibes, such good people. I tell y'all every time, like, I recommend this dentist office so much. They are a chain, so if you're in South Carolina, North Carolina, I recommend. But I am going to be ending the vlog here because my next read is kind of a spin-off of a series, and I don't know how I would talk about it without being spoilery. It is The March by Ben Kane, which is a historical fiction, Roman Empire, but I think we're mainly going to be in like India in this book. And that's going to be very interesting. I haven't really read anything like that. It took me forever to get this because Amazon was down. Apparently their data centers, which I don't support those, but in the UAE and there was another country got hit by Iranian missiles. I don't know how true that is, but that's kind of crazy. We are going to do the weekly wrap up. I've read over 100 pages every single day this week. Very proud of myself. I have hauled 3 books this week because I did go to Barnes & Noble, and then I got a book yesterday at the store. Those will all be in shorts and then in a haul at the end of the month. But next week's, we are going to be focusing on the shortest historical fiction book on my TBR according to Goodreads, and that is The Dead Lake by Hamid Ismailov, I think was the name. It's a piece of translated fiction coming from Kazakhstan. We have our main character who is a young man in Soviet Kazakhstan in an area where atomic weapons have been tested. He falls in love with the girl next door who he really wants to impress, so he jumps into a lake that is a forbidden lake. It's filled with toxic waste. He does not get to become a man, and the girl next door grows to be a beautiful woman. We will have to see where that story goes, but I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you made it all the way through, leave a green emoji in the comments below, and as always, comment, rate, and subscribe, and don't forget to ring that notification bell to be notified when all my videos go live. I'll see you in my next one. Bye! Penny.